October 24th, 2019. This is my video blog, my on my way to work video blog. Get out the door here. Topic today: you can't keep vultures from flying over your head, but you can keep them from making a nest in your hair. I work at a truck terminal in Indianapolis, Indiana, and our driver board consists of probably 150, 160 drivers, truck drivers. These are men who work all by themselves all day long. The only time we see other people is when we happen to enter a building and somebody there on the dock wants to know what we've got or how much we've got or what is it, and it's a down in the trenches type of job. It's a good job. It's a good trade, skill trade. This particular truck terminal, this particular company, the health benefits are phenomenal. It's very hard to find this type of health coverage. And with my wife having the disease that she has, the health insurance comes in really handy. However, it's a truck terminal, and the majority of the people that I have to work with, that I work around, are men. And they are, for the most part, loners. They spend all day alone. They're very set in their ways, and their vocabulary and their attitude is often less than desirable. I hired in with a buddy of mine. I hired in at this truck terminal with a friend of mine. We came from another truck terminal, from another company, and this friend of mine had served some time in a juvenile detention center. When he was 17, I think he took a swing at a cop. I don't know if he hit the cop, but he spent some time in juvie. And we got to this truck terminal where I'm at now. He's moved on, but we got to this truck terminal, and within a couple of weeks of being there, he said, "Thad, man, this place reminds me of juvie. It's just the whole attitude. You can just feel it in the air." And it was rough, very negative, very backstabbing. The managers at the time were extremely dictator-like, imperialistic, and the majority of the drivers, the majority of the workers, they were afraid to move. They were afraid to do anything for fear of getting in trouble, you know. So, whoa, how'd that happen? Gotta get some cash. Make sure that nobody's watching my security number. Anyway, there's a lot of cussing that goes on. A lot of vulgar language. A lot of guys take out their cell phones that are showing pictures of porn, and they're showing pornographic jokes, and it's just a toxic work environment. Very hostile work environment. A lot of, like I said, there's a lot of cussing going on. A lot of cussing, a lot of animosity. Like it or not, you are the company you keep. You are your environment. This reminds me of when Hunter was a kid, our son Hunter. When he was a kid and he wanted something, he wanted a toy or something. And Debbie told him, honey, we can't buy that. We don't have any money. And he was just very matter of fact. He said, well, can't you just go to the ATM? So yeah, we had to explain to him how that money got in the ATM. So you can't keep vultures from flying over your head, but you can keep them from making a nest in your hair. Meaning that I cannot change the environment or the attitudes of the men where I work. All I can do is try to be the change that I want to see in those men and in their attitudes. But it gets a little hard to do sometimes. And I understand, back in my day when I was cussing and carrying on and just very hateful and I didn't know that God was real, I acted the same way. I was. And I remember Christian men in my life. A lot of times men who just kind of look at me, keep their mouths shut, and I never heard them cuss, and I didn't know what that was all about. I didn't know. I just thought, oh, you're faking it. You're acting. No. No, I think they had Jesus. When you know Jesus, when you know that peace, yeah, you get flustered sometimes. I mean, I made a video earlier about keeping your eye on the revelation and taking it off of the situation. You got to have that revelation. It's got to be there. But it's easy to get distracted, and it's easy to take your eyes off the revelation up here and focus down here on the situation. It's real easy to do. But you have the ability to keep those vultures from making a nest in your hair. We all have that ability. So there's a young lady at my work. Yeah, I've got a couple of minutes. I'm going to try to keep this in 10 minutes. But there's a woman at my work, and thank God she works in the office. But I spent some time with her 2 or 3 years ago around Christmas time. Not spent some time with her, but I was in the office with her, and she was, at the time, she was in charge of a certain department, and I had some questions, and I took the questions to her, and I'm sitting there and we're talking a little bit. She's starting to talk a little bit about her faith. She's very businesslike. She often has this what do I want to say? This persona of being extremely hardcore, extremely rigid, very businesslike. And she just happens to be under a lot of stress. She takes care of all the finances in her family. She's got a couple of kids. Her husband doesn't do that. And she tried looking for another job, but without a college degree, she makes the money that she makes, she's not going to find that anywhere else. And right now she's reliant upon the money that she makes. Right then she was relying on the money that she makes. So deep down inside, what I'm saying is she's a really sweet lady. It's just she's been handed a really bad hand. She's been dealt a really rough hand. And she has allowed vultures to make a nest in her hair. But God can take those nests out of our hair. He sure can. So anyway, I've hit my 10-minute mark. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on another video.